My name is Sam Garner. I'm the Graduate Resourcing Manager for King & Wood Mallesons, and with me is...
Hi, I'm Aiko. I'm a graduate in the projects team right now. I summer clerked in 2017 to 2018, and after that I paralegaled most of last year, as did most of my peers.
Great. Well, we obviously had some questions sent through, but we also wanted to just give you a bit of an introduction, but we're very happy to take further questions, so please send anything through. And if we're not covering sort of the relevant information or the things that you want to hear about, again, please just let us know. So, but we're going to keep it pretty fluid and just hopefully give you a really good insight into King & Wood Mallesons, and in particular the projects area, which is a huge growth practice group for the firm. So we really wanted to highlight that. And I know it's not a practice group that most people are aware of. So we thought, again, that would be interesting for you, I guess, just to hear a little bit about that. But we might just start off briefly with King & Wood Mallesons. We have 27 international offices. We're one of the largest international legal networks in Asia, with over 500 partners and more than 2,000 lawyers. Our clients range from a mix of global and financial corporate powerhouses through to new industry makers and obviously government. We have a unique positioning in the sense of we are the only law firm able to practice Chinese, Hong Kong, Australian, English, US, and a significant range of European laws under one integrated legal brand. And I guess our tagline there is, we are connecting Asia to the world and the world to Asia. So that's a little bit about the firm. Within the Australian partnership, we've got 5 key practice groups. Mergers and acquisitions, which again, for some of you may know as corporate. So it's not just mergers and acquisitions. We've got other groups that sit within that. We've got banking and finance, we've got projects and real estate, and within that group there's also environment. We've got tax, and we have dispute resolution. But you know, they're the 5 broad areas, but many subgroups within those 5 practice areas. In Australia, we've got offices Sydney, Melbourne, Canberra, Perth, and Brisbane. Did I get that right? Is that 5? There's 5. Yes, 5 groups, and it's, you know, a very integrated firm in the sense of a lot of the work is done across offices, across practice groups. So although you are based in an office, it's quite interesting. I think it's because of technology now, it's much more both cross-border and even cross-office work within Australia. So that's a little bit about the firm. I might pass over now to Aiko, and we'll talk a bit about projects, and then hopefully we'll have some time to cover some things around clerkships and questions that you may have. But I'll hand over now.
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, I'm a graduate in the projects team. And the project team does work in relation to infrastructure and energy. And right now I'm doing work related to energy. The projects team actually does a large variety of work that varies between corporate, regulatory, and financing. So they can advise clients anything from acquisition of wind farms and solar farms to financing the purchase of these and providing advice on the energy regulations as well. And one of the questions that we got from students that was pre-submitted was what I do on a daily basis. In terms of corporate work, I could help draft like due diligence reports or share sale agreements, or I could help draft finance documents or security documents, or I could look up energy regulation to see how clients are supposed to comply with them, or if any rule changes are supposed to affect them. And energy is a really exciting sort of area to be in because there are a lot of rule changes in the area, a lot of regulatory change. It's also quite an interesting and complex field because there's a technical side to things. So I'm actually also learning a lot about how generation works, how they transport electricity to the grid. There's just such a variety of work, so I'm never bored, and it's rare for me to do the same task twice. So I'll bring it back to you.
Great. Thank you. I know sort of one of the other questions that we received, I think, was you're obviously rotating in projects at the moment, but we just thought we might let you know about, I guess, the rotation system at King & Wood Mallesons, so you're clear of how that works. So when you clerk with us, depending on the office, you'll do 1 or 2 rotations, and that's really dependent on the length of the clerkship. In Sydney, we do 2. In Melbourne, Perth and Brisbane, you just do 1 rotation, and Canberra, 2 as well, just because it's a slightly longer clerkship. So you get the opportunity at a clerk also to start seeing the business and thinking about the practice areas that might interest you. But that really comes more into play when you start as a graduate. And we currently do 3 6-month rotations. Our graduates obviously are able to put forward what they want to do, and always and where possible, we'll give everyone the rotations that they want. Some people are quite open, and some people are much more sort of planned with what they want to do. But those 3 6-month rotations will be across the 5 practice groups that we talked about before. And with each of those rotations, you get quite intense, what we would say, practice group induction, because obviously you may not have studied or be aware of that particular practice group from when you're at university. So we do have a kind of unassumed knowledge policy with our training, and we make sure that right at the beginning, in that first week, you really get trained up incredibly well for that particular rotation and that practice group. So we think about what skills you need to be a rotator in that group and really make it practical. So a lot of our training is also written by junior lawyers who have previously done rotations and can really, advise on what skills we can best provide our graduates. So as well as the firm-wide induction, you do have quite intensive, what we would call practice group induction. Okay, have you thought, obviously, first rotation, where next?
So because projects has exposed me such a variety of different areas, and I do a lot of financing work or corporate work, so I think for my next 2 rotations, I might give it a go in banking and finance or M&A.
Yeah.
So I can sort of continue the experience of projects and sort of use the things I've learned there.
Oh, that's good. And obviously with those particular practice groups, you have got that then in possibility to work overseas. So when you're considering what practice groups you're interested in or the areas of law, if that is something you want to do, then, think carefully about that. So certainly with projects and banking and finance and mergers and acquisitions and also DR, you can work overseas. So we, in your 3rd rotation at King & Wood Mallesons, you can apply to go to a different office. Some people choose to go domestically, some people choose to go internationally. So we've got about 5 rotators in Hong Kong at the moment, 1 in Singapore, and we've got, I think we had 3 or 4 people from Australia go domestically. So there's always that possibility also to see another office in another jurisdiction, etc. And that's great with the rotations, but also building your skill set and the network across the business. I'm just trying to think what else might be interesting for you. I know we also, I think one of the questions we had was sort of numbers and how does that look. So they do differ each year, and we're not too prerequisite with our clerkship numbers, but I just thought I might give you a bit of a tell. We had 158 seasonal clerks last year. So that was 37 in Sydney, 4 in Canberra, 77 in Melbourne, which covers summer and winter, 18 in Brisbane, which again was summer and winter, and 22 in Perth, which is summer and winter. We've been as high as sort of 177 the previous year, so it really just depends in what's happening in the market and obviously our accepts and declines. How that correlates into graduate numbers is this year we have 83 graduates within the firm. So that's around 35 in Sydney, 5 in Canberra, 21 in Melbourne, 13 in Brisbane and 9 in Perth.